Most parents don't realize that some of the most common phrases they use every day with young children are quietly shaping how those children see themselves, what they believe they're capable of, and whether they trust their own judgment. These aren't harsh words, they're not said in anger, they're said with love, often dozens of times a week, by caring parents who would never intentionally undermine their child's confidence. But the developing brain doesn't process language the way we intend it, and certain phrases, repeated over time, can create patterns of self-doubt that last far longer than we realize. Before we go further, you need to know that using these phrases does not mean you've harmed your child. Language patterns are learned. They're passed down through generations. They reflect what we heard as children and what our culture teaches us about encouragement and protection. Your intention has always been love. What matters now is understanding how young children actually interpret the words we use and adjusting those words to match the confidence we're trying to build. The reason language matters so profoundly before age 5 is because this is when children are forming their core beliefs about themselves and their capabilities. The brain during these years is not processing language primarily through logic or analysis. It's absorbing language emotionally and using it to construct an internal narrative about who they are and what they can do. Research shows that the words children hear most frequently from their primary caregivers become the foundation of their inner voice. The language you use with your 3-year-old today will likely become the language they use with themselves at 13, at 23, and beyond. This is not about perfection. This is about awareness of which patterns build confidence and which patterns, despite good intentions, quietly erode it. Here are the phrases that developmental psychology suggests we reconsider. The first is be careful. This phrase feels protective. It feels like keeping your child safe, and occasionally in moments of genuine danger, it serves that purpose. But when we say be careful constantly throughout the day as children climb, explore, or try new physical challenges, their brain learns something different than we intend. Neuroscience tells us that the developing brain is highly attuned to the emotional tone beneath words. When we repeatedly say be careful, what the child's nervous system often registers is anxiety and lack of trust in their capability. Over time, this teaches them that the world is more dangerous than it actually is, and that they should doubt their own physical judgment and competence. Confidence in young children is built largely through physical mastery and exploration. When that exploration is constantly paired with verbal signals of danger, the brain learns to hesitate, to second guess, to wait for external permission rather than trusting internal capability. The second phrase is good job. This surprises many parents because it sounds positive and encouraging, and again, used occasionally in genuine moments of achievement, it can be affirming. But research in developmental psychology finds that when good job becomes our automatic response to everything a child does, it creates dependence on external validation rather than internal satisfaction. The child's brain learns to look outside themselves for confirmation that what they did was worthwhile. They begin performing for praise rather than for the inherent satisfaction of the activity itself. This creates a pattern where confidence becomes contingent on others' approval. When that approval isn't present, the child doubts the value of their effort or accomplishment. From a developmental perspective, genuine confidence comes from internal recognition of effort and growth, not from constant external evaluation. The third phrase is don't worry, or you're fine. Parents say this when children express fear, concern, or distress about something. The intention is reassurance. The hope is that telling the child not to worry will help them feel better. But neuroscience shows that this phrase often has the opposite effect. When we tell a child not to worry, we're invalidating their internal experience. They feel worried. That feeling is real in their body and their nervous system. When we dismiss it by saying it shouldn't exist, their brain learns that their emotional signals are unreliable or wrong. Over time, this creates children who don't trust their own feelings, who doubt their perception, and who look constantly to others to tell them how they should feel. Confidence requires trusting your own internal experience. This phrase teaches the opposite. The fourth phrase is let me do it. This happens when children are struggling with a task and we step in to complete it for them. It feels helpful. It feels efficient. It prevents frustration. But what the child's brain learns from repeated experiences of let me do it is that struggle means incompetence, that they cannot figure things out on their own, and that adults don't believe in their capability to work through difficulty. Research shows that children build confidence not from easy success, but from encountering challenge, struggling with it, and either succeeding through effort or learning that struggle itself is tolerable and valuable. When we consistently remove struggle by taking over tasks, we prevent the neural pathways for persistence and problem solving from developing. The child learns that when something is hard, they should wait for rescue rather than trust their capacity to keep trying. The fifth phrase is, "Why can't you be more like," followed by a comparison to a sibling, peer, or idealized behavior. This is often said without malice, sometimes even as attempted motivation. But from a developmental perspective, comparison is one of the most damaging patterns for confidence building. The child's brain hears this and learns that who they are is insufficient, that their natural tendencies are wrong, and that love and approval are conditional on being different than they are. Confidence is built on self-acceptance and the belief that your authentic self is valuable. Comparison teaches the exact opposite. It creates children who spend enormous energy trying to be someone else rather than developing genuine competence in who they actually are. Here is what these phrases have in common. They all communicate, subtly but repeatedly, that the child should not trust themselves, that their judgment, their feelings, their efforts, or their identity needs external correction or validation, that the world is more dangerous, their capabilities are more limited, or their authentic self is less acceptable than reality suggests. The developing brain is building confidence through thousands of small interactions. Each interaction either reinforces, "I can trust myself," "I am capable," "I am acceptable as I am," or it reinforces, "I should doubt myself," "I need others to manage things for me," "I need to be different to be worthy." The phrases we've discussed, despite being well-intentioned, reinforce the second pattern. Here is what to say instead. When your child is engaging in age-appropriate physical exploration, instead of "be careful," try "I'm here if you need me," or simply stay present without comment. Your calm presence communicates safety far more effectively than words of caution. You're trusting them to assess their own limits, which builds genuine confidence in their physical judgment. Instead of "good job" as an automatic response, try describing what you see without evaluation. "You built that tower very tall," or "you worked on that for a long time." This draws their attention to their own effort and achievement without making your approval the focus. They learn to evaluate their own work and find satisfaction in the process itself, rather than in external praise. Instead of "don't worry" or "you're fine," try "you're feeling worried about that," or "that feels scary to you right now." You're validating their internal experience as real and acceptable. Then you can offer your presence or support without dismissing the feeling. This teaches them to trust their emotions as valuable information rather than errors that need correcting. Instead of "let me do it," try "this is tricky. Do you want to keep trying, or would you like help?" You're acknowledging the challenge while giving them agency. If they ask for help, you can offer minimal assistance rather than taking over completely. "You hold this part and I'll hold this part" allows them to remain active in the problem solving. They learn that struggle is normal and that they have options beyond giving up or being rescued. Instead of any comparison, focus solely on the individual child's own progress. You're learning to do this, or you tried a different way this time. You're helping them see their own growth without reference to anyone else. This builds confidence, rooted in personal development rather than relative standing. The pattern in these alternative phrases is this: they trust the child's experience, they acknowledge effort over outcome, and they maintain the child's sense of agency and capability. From a neuroscience perspective, this is precisely what builds genuine confidence in the developing brain. Confidence in young children is not built by protecting them from all difficulty, praising everything they do, or telling them their feelings are wrong. Confidence comes from repeated experiences of trusting their own judgment, working through challenges with support available but not imposed, having their feelings validated as real, and being accepted as they authentically are. The language shifts we've discussed are not about adding more work to your already demanding role as a parent. They're about small changes in phrasing that align your words with the confidence you're genuinely trying to build. You don't need to eliminate these phrases entirely overnight. You simply need awareness that allows you to catch yourself and choose different words more often than not. Change happens gradually. Your child's brain is still forming. The patterns created by previous language can be gently reshaped by new language moving forward. What matters is the overall direction of change, not perfection in every interaction. Start by choosing one phrase to work on. Notice when you use it. Pause. Choose the alternative phrasing. Notice how your child responds over time. Small, consistent changes in language create meaningful shifts in how children see themselves and what they believe they're capable of becoming. You are building your child's inner voice right now through the outer voice they hear from you most often. Make that voice one of trust, validation, and confidence in their fundamental capability and worth. The phrases you choose today become the foundation of how they will speak to themselves for decades to come.